Yo, ho, ho. What is it? It's a Friday, man. I got this week straight. Miss Trade, Matt Davio. And the first thing I noticed, Matt, is that there must be some weather. There's some weather in the Tucson area.
There's actually some clouds this morning, and it's high 40s, and little rain on my car this morning. So yeah, a little chilly. So I decided to grab a tuna sandwich here late morning because it's lunchtime for traders, as you know.
Yes, and, I'm always an early, even on the floor, like 10 o'clock lunchtime, man.
Right. So yeah, it's a little wacky out here today, but we'll make the best of it. Got golf planned later this afternoon.
Nice.
Looking forward to.
I'm gonna head up for a bluebird. We got a bluebird today on Mount B. Maybe a little mashed
nice.
Potatoes being pushed around. Then, Matt, I got a turkey grown on the family farm and harvested in the fall, sitting in a buttermilk brine, and I'm gonna spatchcock that bitch, hashtag that shit, and then put it on a hot. I got the smoker, Matt, but my smoker is a Green Mountain Grill smoker.
Okay.
Mostly as much as they can here in the U.S. of A, Reno, Nevada, as opposed to the Traeger grill, which is manufactured in China. Anyway, the thing about the Green Mountain Grill, I have the David Bowie model. It's big, man. And this son of a bitch gets hot. Like, you can smoke stuff fine. Yeah, it can smoke. It can go to, actually its lowest setting is 150. The smoke range is 150 to 220. But you crank this thing and it goes nuclear. I mean, it can go well over 500 degrees.
You better keep
by the way.
You better keep Rita away from that.
Lovely. Oh man, I got it. So there was a picture shared on the Mount Bachelor webpage of one of the food carts up there smoking a whole pig, right?
Yeah.
And man, did they get a lot of flack from the vegetarian crowd and how they didn't need to see it. Like, and I wanted to say, you know what? I bought these little apples. Have you seen the tiny little apples that they taste great, but they're not much bigger than a crab apple? I'm like, let's take that apple and put it in Frank's mouth. Frank's our little terrier, and put him like we're putting the dog on the smoker. You want to see some people freak out. And Matt, that brings up our first little subject here. The Scarecrow is canceled for offending people without brains. See, I think this thing comes full cycle on. You can't cancel anybody anymore, right? Because the canceling needs to be canceled.
But you probably have to cancel the Tin Man too, because he doesn't have a heart.
And for God's sakes, cancel the lion. I got the lion down. What do they got? It's too bad that they can't see you. Right?
Oh my God.
What do they got that I ain't got? Courage. You can say that again. If I were the king of the full. Not a queen, not a duke. I'm killing them, folks. I'm absolutely killing them. Matt, I'm going to share here because all of our other stories are on my board here. And so let me share. And the first thing that I want to share is not me and you here. I want to actually share from this is the Twittersphere, folks. So we're live on the Twittersphere. And I wanted to share this. Now, you can't hear it, but this is Chance the Rapper, Matt. Yep. And he's got a million views. Did he just release this tune?
Yeah, just released it, and I love it. It's a great song lyrically, and just a cool video too of him lying there, just voicing the song and kind of expressing himself. I love it, and he's got his number 3 hat. Here's a guy from your hometown of Chicago that just gets it. I mean, he's a good person. He is married, he's got a kid or two, and he's doing what he loves, which is kind of preaching through his music. And people don't realize that, the music game is so difficult for these kids. You get one hit and that's not enough to sustain, because they really, the production costs, that the record and the labels put on people, even if you wrote the song, ends up being onerous. So, he kind of went a different route and said, you know what, I'm not going to use the labels. I'm going to self-promote. I'm going to use the technology from SoundCloud to Spotify and promote own my own stuff and see where it goes. And through that, he's a brilliant business person and does just great things with collabs and writing, obviously co-writing songs with people. And then, the gear side of things, his number 3 hat, I think he has on again in this video. I mean, I read in 2018 that that year alone, he pocketed like $6-7 million in profits just from that one hat. So, again, I'm a big fan of independence when it comes to business people. And I still contend that where we are right now, helping just big boxes is never going to be a good thing. You've got to have the small businessman taking a shot at becoming a big business. And guys like Chance the Rapper, on the music and the art side of things, makes me happy to be a music fan, because I love his music and I love supporting people like that.
Well, Matt, the first thing I noticed was he liked your tweet. Let's follow Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, got to follow him. He's a good guy. I do.
Had 60 million views and he liked your tweet. The first thing I love about that. Where do I go from here? Should I read the Rudyard Kipling poem, or should we talk more about this?
Well, let's talk a little bit about music. We've talked about Spotify. Let's bring up a chart on Spotify real quick.
All right, here's Spotify, and this is make sure I'm telling you correctly, a 1-month chart here in Spotify.
Okay, so again, we've had a huge sell-off here. I can't see the top there, Bob, very well.
The top is 332, let's call it, is the top of this value range.
And then we traded down to...
We traded right down to the low end of the value range on the monthly chart, 256.
Right. So
point of control, 273, and we're just kind of trading right above that point of control.
Yeah, and I bet you if you fractal out, there's a lot more room to the downside, unfortunately. Again, and all these names got way ahead, and that's a 30% haircut already. So, yeah, I mean, so now you've got a situation where you may be able to rally to that midline, but that would be a screaming sell again. And it really couldn't get above that area that it traded above this week. And much like I said last week, you're going to get these bounces, and some of them will be severe, and some, will be kind of lackluster. The follow through, the momentum is left on the long side, and now the shorts are in control. And this is very evident. All you have to do is look at that big chunk above there. That is basically probably I'm guessing a couple months, 3 months of time.
This is a 6-month chart. Yeah.
Right. So that upper width, Bob, is going to be very difficult in any short-term nature to be overcome. So you don't want to be long the stock right now just based on price action, and you want to be selling all rallies if you get a bump is really what it comes down to. But what's interesting, I think, in the music space, and we've talked about this a lot, and with alternative coins and some of the uses they have around art and music and NFTs, which will lead into also from this, but if you could bring up, there's a company, it's private, called Royalty Exchange.
It's not traded yet. Yeah. So this is their website.
Royalty Exchange is a virtual exchange for music and film rights primarily so far, but they're expanding, and it's interesting. I hadn't looked at it in a while. I actually talked to the CEO and the founder a couple of years ago, and got involved and got on the exchange, and actually have bought a few of these rights to a few of the musical pieces, because you can buy pieces of them, right? That's the whole idea. So you can combine, you and me and 100 other people can each spend our, $500 and own a piece of, different people. I saw that, there was a Jay-Z song that with Alicia Keys that just closed recently. So you can buy the rights to that. And then as it's marketed and promoted and gets paid on, it drives a stream of income. It's like a bond, right? Because
that is awesome. Yeah. I mean, this whole space is seeing such an incredible amount of, let's just call it it's a turf battle as the technology grows.
And in fact, as I was going through that this morning, I don't know if you have it in front of you, but if you look at some of the closed auctions. I mean, the rights to trading places. I wish we would have known about this. I would have definitely
I would have liked
threw a
to
few
put together a
shekels at it.
SPAC and bought it.
That's right. So for 140,000, somebody picked up the 1983 classic. Really, to this day, still the best trading movie ever made. I mean,
Ever.
ever made. I mean, and it's so well done because I mean, as a pit trader, what it was like down there, and Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd just nailed it with Mortimer, and get back in there, Beaks.
Fuck Mortimer. All right, listen.
Half the references we talk about are from that movie, Bobby.
Well, between that movie and the National Lampoon album, That's Not Funny, That's Sick, I'd say that covers about 78% of my my comedy. Let's talk a little crypto. All right, crypto, Matt. We've talked about the NFTs. NFT stands for non-fungible token, and it's a way for blockchains to, again, back to this turf battle, blockchains to be the custodian of rights in the artistic world, whether it be a work of art, what do you call it? A digital work of art, the digital representation of a classic work of art, a piece of music, a poem, whatever. And if it's on a blockchain, and so the big news this week was this guy, and I'm going to just play one of his free pieces. Whoa, look at that. I just ducked right into a space set.
Matrix.
And he's been giving his art away for free for over, I think he's done a piece of art every day for over 5,000 days. I can't do the math, but it's a lot. And his name is People. Hold on, and let's find him, because we got to get back to the Twitter sphere. And come on, this is how we do it. People, there he is, because he was on the Today Show, and here it is. And Matt, in cryptosphere, I see so much. There's so much shilling, right? There's people that are in trouble for the ridiculous shilling that has been going on. But he sold for a record $69.3 million in an auction hosted by Christie's, and on CNBC NBC this morning, on the Today Show. So again, there's this turf battle. You go back to the, buy a piece in this royalty exchange. This is not on the blockchain, but it's a way for people to, and I just don't see the fiat world giving up so easily. For sure, there's a push in the crypto sphere to take part in this. And again, back to the use case, like this is actually a pretty good use case for crypto to establish ownership and create a royalty stream. They for sure haven't created that yet effectively in a blockchain space yet, though, as far as I know.
But here's another thing. Like I think about this all the time. Like you have ETFs, whether it's the SPY, the Qs, right? All these names that we're familiar with, and these royalty exchange opportunities are similar. But you're basically pooling money, and somebody's charging an extravagant fee in most cases for the ETFs, right? There's a reason why there's 5,000 ETFs right now, is because the bankers that put these deals together are skimming off the top. And so I could see where the alt coin or the alt currency technologies from NFT to this type of thing would allow more participants, much like Robinhood has, right? You can buy fractional shares. Right. So if you could buy fractional shares to the rights of a Chance the Rapper, catalog sooner than later, instead of having to wait 20 years, I'm sure both the seller and the buyer would be happier to pay lower prices today than they would 20 years out to take a shot on the futures of somebody like that, right? So to me, if you're a fan of art or music and you are able to find those people first, I think you should be compensated for that, as should the artist and the musician. So I think there's a way for all to be involved in something like that, and I would love to see more use cases like that where that comes into play. That makes a lot of sense to me, Bob.
All right, let's talk prices here. The bonds again. Let's come back into a 1 month. And there's
Yeah.
these tweets. I saw these tweets today, Matt, about, inflation can't rear its head because there's no velocity in money. Yet we see across the board things, I saw a tweet this week on the building cost for a house. The sticks are costing $35,000 for the stick package, and it used to be $8,000 last year. They can't even price out new builds right now because the price of lumber is so ridiculously hard to
insane.
peg.
Yeah.
And so it seems to me that there's a breakdown in this. Well, you can't have inflation without velocity of money, because we see it all over. And we see the bonds doing what they're doing, and it doesn't appear that rates have consolidated and found a bottom.
So last week we were kind of guessing, are we finding them? I was looking for that first level, 55, to hold. It held, right? We got into the 155s. We rallied up to the 159s. And before Biden started speaking, this thing had already sold off yesterday, $1. And then once he started speaking, it accelerated. We're down another $2 today. And by the way, making a new weekly low. And we're basically closed now. So the bonds are going to close red for the week and a new low. So this is not bullish at all. If you were trying to catch the knife, that knife has gone back into the cake, and who knows how deep it's going to cut, because I think if you go to the next level, if you look at a 5-year chart, Bob, if you pop that on a 5-year, which you can do down on the bottom, you'll see pretty clearly that we're right kind of coming to that area, that's that 153 again. And that's a big level, but there's some meat down to 143 also. So again, this is a 5-year chart, may not, but it's moving swiftly. So this is how you can tell which time frame is in control of the market. Just because this is a 5-year doesn't mean it's necessarily in control, but it is, because you can see the pace, right? The how big those red candles are. That's almost like we're trading a 5-minute chart. So when that starts happening, this is the chart that's in control, and this is how you can see it. And you can't always see it, but this is a perfect example of what time frame should you be focused on. And it's not the 5-minute chart, Bob, but it's the 5-year. This is a really important chart. This is the one that's in control right now.
Yeah, I mean, it for sure looks like it wants to fall away and at least test that 153.28 level on this weekly point of control, as you said, 5-year chart. And again, we always talking about a major argument will be had
and
at that level. And then, if things deteriorate further, you look at, there's just a lot of room. There's a lot of meat, but there's a lot of room.
I've been saying
for a while, I mean, we are coming into the greatest trading that we've seen in a generation. And
now, if you can, like you said, everybody's talking about inflation. 2 areas where you're seeing it. If you'll flip really quick, a couple of commodities, bring up the RBOB, bring up the gasoline futures. And those have continued higher. We've mentioned this for the last 2 months solidly. You and I have been preaching that this is doing nothing but going higher. Gasoline prices hit over, talking to my sons, I sent them some money to California.
I didn't change the fractal. I left it on the weekly. And again, this thing, it's like the old movie. It's the silver streak. It's a runaway.
Right. It is a runaway. Yeah.
The silver streak's a runaway coming into Central Station, hot and heavy. And let's come into look at how easy I can. This is the 1 month chart. And again, we're just moving away.
And any dips should be bought. That's the simple, if you haven't been on board, it's hard to chase. We get it, but we've been talking about it for 2 months, and it continues to go higher and higher. So any little dip you get back to any of these levels, and the first two are there below you, you should be a buyer. But that one particularly, in the middle there, that's a solid one. That's not going away. It's like you said, there will be an argument at that price, whether it shifts to go lower. There would have to be huge.
214 now. This point of control here, little one 204, and then the bigger one 196. Any dips,
right,
into those areas should be bought.
Exactly. And again, there'll be arguments, but until that argument vets itself out and maybe policy changes, which I don't see happening, neither do you. So it's pretty easy to say this thing's going higher right now. It's definitely going higher.
All right, and then let's take a quick look at the.
And then bring up the beans, just to look at one of the
soybeans.
Yeah. And again, made a new high earlier. I'm not sure if it was early this week or the end of last week. I can't quite see the time frame
This
there.
is a 7 of March.
Okay, so just over not quite a week ago. It was last Wednesday, Thursday. So again, this, or rather, the 7th is Sunday. So that was the Sunday gap open. But any pullbacks there down to that meat, you're just getting into it. Where we are today, until this changes, until the argument is vetted the other way, the bulls are in control. So inflation is showing itself in food. And it happened in the hogs this week too. Didn't we have some runaway?
We sure
limits?
did. And again, a particularly difficult time for a hog trader, because a lot of these guys like trading the spread, right? And June should be the strongest on the board, but the spread, this is April outright. And again, there's a big congestion here that they fully moved away from, this big congestion. And the fundamental talk is, I know that our friend Jer inside marketvitals.io, he said that the export report, for the first time he's ever seen it, and he's been watching for decades, every single Asian country bought pork from us in the past export cycle. And so, I don't think the Chinese have been fully honest about their pig herd and what has gone on post African swine fever. And, that shows up, and now it's starting to show up in the price. As we move to the summer, we have fewer, the kill declines into June and July. And so we have sort of a perfect storm brewing here, with demand seeming like it's going to increase in our country, right? As things open up, as they sell, ribs in restaurants and pork products in ballparks. And I know it's usually an all beef frank, Matt. Let me just say that right now. Right. I am a kosher beef frank connoisseur. One thing I do miss here in Bend, Oregon, Matt, is the lack of a great Chicago dog.
Yeah, well, I keep telling you, the shy D dog.
And then when we look at the, tell me about it. And this is the spread that has just crucified people, because June generally much stronger than April on the board. And this spread went from June being 12 over all the way into 6. And for me, it looks like it wants to make another run back to the highs. And believe me, the traditional seasonal spreaders got crucified on this spread. And again, what should happen and what does happen in trading, often two very different things.
And when's the last time we've seen this spread this high? I'm curious. How long has it been since we've been
never
this
in
high?
This cycle. There have been a few outliers where, I remember the PED in 2014, I believe it was, the porcine endemic virus in the pig herd here in the States. And you saw inversions that never happened before. This one seems to be more driven by the incredible demand worldwide, and obviously the lack of production. Germany had to cull a bunch of their herd because of African swine fever. So there's just a major imbalance going on. And listen, me and you both know that at the end of the day, the real reality is what shows up in the price. Yeah. And it's really hard to have a great understanding of the true fundamentals in anything. I mean, when we've been looking at the lumber market, how crazy that market's been. And so back to this thought that you can't have inflation without velocity of money, maybe that too, along with modern economic theory, is, thanks for sharing, but it's not really, showing up in the reality of my P&L, most importantly.
Yep, I get you.
What else, Matt?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the Big Ten tournament, because Michigan is tipping off. They just tipped off about 20 minutes ago, or maybe it was an hour ago. I actually just forgot about it. I'm ashamed to say, a 9:20 game, and I think it's 9:20 Arizona time, which is a little different than usual. So I don't know. You'd have to bring that up for me and give me a score real quick, because I don't have it on my screen. I just thought about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But Sparty did lose to Maryland yesterday, and finally we don't have to play them for the third time, thankfully. But Michigan is up 40-38 at halftime, Bob. So it's a halftime 40-38. I got the score for you right here. Tight game. Maryland's
tough, man. I watched them earlier this year, and for being in the middle of the Big Ten, they got a solid team.
Yep. They got a really good team, young team. And yep. So anyways, on Sunday is we bracketology out. So Sunday we get the dance going. The NCAA dance, you fill it, get your brackets out. And Bob, you're going to be hosting a bracket for us, I'm sure, at Market Vitals. So get on Yahoo and set one of those
for sure.
up,
Inside the group, we will. We got Venmo. Yep. We're going to get a whole one going. One thing I miss the most about the floor is the availability for gambling with the common man. No bookie involved. The true payout. You shared this, and is this really a PGA golfer that just?
Yeah, Jason Na. Yes. He's a 4 or 5 time champion on the PGA Tour. He's won 5 tournaments.
Let's just watch it again. The ultimate fuck you, and then the realization that my car keys and wallet are in the golf bag, and somebody's got to go in and get it.
But at least he's got a caddy.
Go in and get it. And there's probably gators in the water. The caddy's
For
like,
sure.
I am not going to get
Sawgrass.
I had a clerk at one time in my career that bought Mike Ditka's golf bag, an iron set, because he did the same thing at the Bobolink Golf Club in the Chicagoland area. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, man. I will get the bracketology going inside marketvitals.io. It's not .com, org, info, CAEURU. It's marketvitals.io. Please retweet and share the podcast. Matt, well, I'm going to leave today with a share inside the Twittersphere from our friend Pax, and it was a Rudyard Kipling poem. Kipling lived 1865 to 1936. And when Pax shared it, I read it and I thought, you know what, this is so apropos to trading in particular. And so let me give it a whirl, Matt. Again, Rudyard Kipling, Poetry Reading Friday. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give away to hating, and yet don't look too good nor walk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet the triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. And I got to tell you, when I read it,
That's a good one, man.
It invigorated me to be a better person. Thank you, Rudyard Kipling, and a better trader. Awesome.
Yeah, you just gave me the chills. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Pax, for sharing. And please visit us at marketvitals.io and join a community of people willing to challenge each other's beliefs around mostly trading and profit and loss. Other opinions are willing to be challenged also.
And an occasional club toss into the pond.
and an NCAA pool coming
That's right.
this Sunday as the bracketology will be unveiled. Matt, you have a great weekend. We will be back live from Bend on Monday, yes?
Yes, back Sunday night. We'll see you
All
then,
right,
Bobby.
pal.
All right.
Fantastic
Thanks, buddy.
stuff. Thank you. And again, please, if you would retweet and share the podcast as they go up. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Bob. Have a great weekend.